Welcome back to the House of Rickville podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Colin Kessler. We will be getting into the show just in a few moments here shortly. I have a couple ad reads we're going to do here. Fair warning to everyone that is listening. I know that there has been comments about younger listeners that listen on to the show. I'm going to warn you that one of our ad reads coming up is not going to be entirely maybe child appropriate. So just a fair warning to anyone that is listening, that will be the case for every show going out from here on forward. So just a fair warning, you might want to, earmuffs. Support for the House of Rick Built is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, the number one company in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers absolutely the best tools for your family jewels. For all the guys out there that are listening to this show, while this maybe isn't something that you think about regularly, and I think that it's safe to say that neither myself or Zach were thinking about this prior to this partnership, it's certainly something we all deal with. And to be honest, maybe for you, it's, your own family jewels, as Manscaped calls it. Maybe they are uncomfortable. It's an itchy spot. It's an itchy problem. Maybe it's something that it's just kind of unruly and you haven't taken care of, but it's uncomfortable, certainly. Maybe your lack of maintenance is a detriment to other aspects of your life, or maybe you're just simply interested in taking care of yourself a little bit more, and you're interested in finding new ways to maintain your body. Whatever it is, we're here to tell you, fear not. It is for people just like you and I that Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. With the engineering team over at Manscaped, they've perfected the greatest hair trimmer ever created with the newly released Lawnmower 3.0. This third generation product is built with cutting edge ceramic trimmer, which has reduced the nicks or cuts that you might have in those areas that you're shaving. We also say, when we say premium means premium. This device comes with a battery that lasts up to 90 minutes for the toughest shaving jobs. It's got waterproof technology, which allows it to be anywhere, even in the shower. It also features an LED light for illuminating the area that you're shaving and ensures a precision shave. It includes a 7,000 RPM motor, which has quiet stroke technology. And it also comes with a stand that allows you to proudly display your Manscaped razor. Now, if you're listening to me speak right now and you want to know how can you experience this firsthand for yourself, because I want you to experience this firsthand for yourself as we at the House of Rick Bill are over here, let's clean that bush up together and let's find a way to get you Manscaped. How do you do it? Well, it's this simple. You go right now and you go to manscaped.com. You enter promo code HOUSE. You get 20% off your first purchase from Manscaped plus free shipping. You show the great people at Manscaped that this show is worth putting money into. You get yourself some great products. You take care of yourself. You get yourself the Manscaped help you need. And once again, you show how important that the House of Rick Build is to you, and you show your support for our show by buying Manscaped products. So once again, go to manscaped.com, enter promo code HOUSE, get 20% off your next purchase plus free shipping. Do it right now. Trust us. Your balls will thank you. Our thanks once again always to our sponsors as well over at Mortgage Partners Group. Jason Keenan and friends, if you have any mortgage problems, you have anything you need in the mortgage or home loan market, make sure to give Jason a call at 314-422-0649. Been sponsored of the show from the beginning, and we appreciate their support as always. Make sure give Jason a call, 314-422-0649. Let him know the House of Rick Build sent you.
Yeah, the ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMXing. These boys, people in the city, see the movement occurring and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things.
Lofton with his team down by 2 to the corner. Caputo! No good! And it's over! St. Louis is going dancing. An unlikely run. Tying his career high. Dribbles it out. And here they come. The student section scores the Cardinals at St. Louis.
Possession game. Mitchell. Cassidy. Ellis.
Got to get a shot off. It's got to be a 3.
Ellis. Mitchell for the tie. Got
Runner off the glass, no. Tip battle loose. Evans is absolutely decked by Gant. Evans stays in the game. Oh,
Speaking of leveling,
Conklin leveled Wilcox, and he's down for the count. Driving Evans for Conklin layup. Good whistle foul. Count the basket. You want to play rough? You want to play rough? Let's play.
assume they're not going to foul you. Just take it right to the rim.
Goodwin, 2 for the tie, 3 for the win. Goodwin takes it in, and he got it. We're tied. Overtime, here we come.
Welcome to the House that Rick Built podcast with your hosts, Colin Kessler and Zach Miller. This show is sponsored by Mortgage Partners Group, where mortgage solutions are made simple.
Timeout on the floor, 68-46 St. Louis. This is Billiken basketball.
Welcome back to the House that Rick Built podcast, episode number 107, take number 2. We're going to try this again.
107.5.
Yeah, this has been a doozy of a week. I'm your host, as usual, Colin Kessler, joined as always by Zach Miller. Zach, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Just getting ready. You know, it's become a running joke on this podcast that I record from literally anywhere, and I'm always recording from a different location, and that will be no different this coming weekend, this next podcast. I'm moving into a brand new building. I don't know how it's going to work out, but as I'm on the phone with the cable company, the internet company, the guy's telling me your building's so new that you may not actually have a cable hookup, and you'll have to have somebody come out. So whether I'll be recording on a computer or on my phone, I don't know, but we will get next week's episode out to you as usual.
Yeah. Well, myself and Zach both just going through our fair share of struggles trying to get this podcast out right now, which is insane. Just bad timing on life part. I don't know. But anyway, apologies for the delay in last week's episode, and apologies for posting last week's YouTube on the wrong YouTube channel. That will be corrected by the time this podcast is out.
You know what, Colin? I think we need to switch it up from when we tried to record this the first time. I think we need to talk John Calipari right now so we don't interrupt our Billiken talk.
Sounds
with,
good.
That scumbag.
So let's start here. John Calipari tweets that Cameron Fletcher needs to take a leave of absence. What is the benefit of posting a message like that on Twitter?
I just Fletcher. Did he use TweetDeck and didn't tweet it out from the official account? Like, that's literally all you have to do. All you have to do is have the official account release a news release. Somebody call BK. Get BK a job over there at UK. He deserves it. All you have to do is have a press release that Cameron Fletcher's taken a leave of absence, and then have the official account. Hey, Cameron Fletcher is taking a leave of absence. Coach Calipari, quote tweet. We wish Cameron Fletcher all the best and look forward to him returning to the team.
Yeah.
How hard is that? I mean, I am an impulsive person, and I know better than to do that.
Well, I think it was short-sighted, to say the least. I think it was insulting, really, just to drag that out there like that. And I think, good Lord, I think it's just surprising to see John Calipari acting like this. Yeah,
and then we've already kind of related it to St. Louis and obviously Cameron Fletcher,
right?
But to relate it further to the Billikens, it's funny to see all these posts when Calipari complains about the schedule he put together, and you've got like every thread on like Reddit, Twitter, all this stuff is just a ton of Richmond slander.
Yeah, I think it's
everyone wants to hate on Richmond now.
I think I'm most surprised by, I think there's a lot of things that surprised me in this situation. I think I'm most surprised by the fact that Calipari turned to Twitter to do this, which I think it just astonishes me that was the medium in which he thought was best to put out this thought that he was having. Secondly, I think the complete and utter demise of Kentucky basketball this year has been nothing short of entertaining.
Yes.
I think it's incredible to think about like the teams that have run through Kentucky not all that long ago.
Yeah.
And now to see where they're at right now, and to see John Calipari like legitimately floundering. And it's not just Cal. We saw this with Coach K this year too. Like the pandemic shut down, we're canceling non-conference because it's not safe. We're not really sure if there should be a season or shouldn't be a season. That's a panic move.
Okay, buddy, you're good. Your team's terrible. We get it.
Right. Yeah, it's a panic
This is
move.
your new back problems.
Which is it's insane because it's happening to a lot of really big universities, which I think begs the point this year that four-year universities that right now are going to have a lot more upperclassmen, redshirt transfers, whatever it
Yes.
might be, they are going to benefit in a season like this, and you're seeing it.
But why? Here's my question: why are these coaches that are having bad? Why aren't people cracking down on this kind of like this like almost using the pandemic to their like benefit? Why are we not addressing that?
Well, because I think that the safest answer here is there's no definitive stance on COVID. Like
Correct.
you can say that there is, but let's be honest, everyone's got their own individualized stance on it. So how do you generalize an approach to?
My thing is all these coaches that are questioning whether we should have these kids playing, all of these talking heads on Twitter, on ESPN that are saying, why are we even playing? These kids are going through so much, like blah blah blah. Dude, if you asked every Billiken individually, anonymously, do you want to play this season? Would you say that how many players are on the team? 15, 16?
Something like that, sure.
16. I would say 15 out of 16. I can't guarantee 100% the 16 out of 16 would say it, but I would bet you I would set the over under at 15 out of 16 would say they would for sure want to play. And I think that goes across the board.
Yeah, I would be shocked if you didn't get 16, honestly, out of 16. You're a perfect 100%.
Yes, they could feel uncomfortable, but like at the end of the day, if this is what you do, this is what you do. Like,
yeah,
and you
I
don't
don't
want
know.
that taken away from you. Like if they said we couldn't podcast anymore,
Well, I
Jesus.
wouldn't have much of a life, really, to be honest.
We actually, all of our listeners think that. So,
Well, that's fair.
all of our listeners think we shouldn't podcast anymore.
Yeah, well, we did hear that.
Yes.
But I don't know. Calipari is having an epic
mental
meltdown.
breakdown.
Yeah,
It's almost like he's trying to torpedo his situation there.
maybe. I mean, at this point, yeah.
Do I want out? Is there a way to, he's either looking for a way out or looking for an excuse to, or a scapegoat for this season. So
Whatever it is, I would say it's probably not working. Just outsider opinion. It doesn't seem to be going too hot for Calipari. Let's move on to two topics real quickly. First of all, Zach, you had some news on women's volleyball.
Yeah, women's volleyball added 2 players, a high school senior that will join the team in 2021, Kate Opperly out of Maroa, Illinois, out of Maroa Forsyth High School, 4-year varsity softball and volleyball player, all conference volleyball in 19, all county volleyball in 18-19. Yeah, not super exciting on this high school senior. She's the number 1 setter at Illinois Elite, Top Club Volleyball. But, so bringing in a setter, usually you want your setter to be, the best player on the team. They make everybody else better. They're bringing in a transfer, and this is what I found super interesting. She will be immediately eligible, but she is coming from LaSalle University within conference. So not only is it an in-conference transfer, which makes it interesting, but as of like 10 years ago, LaSalle didn't have they're the worst team in the conference pretty much. And they did not have a full-time assistant coach for many, many years up until recently. And so I wonder, it sends up red flags that we're getting a transfer from one of the worst teams in the conference. We'll see. I mean, there are situations where big time players go to small time schools, bad teams, and decide they want out pretty quickly. So hopefully that's the case here. But it just sends up some red flags for me, as has really Kent Miller's entire tenure here.
Well, that is a running theme in this podcast, as you have made it so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. my closeness to the Cordis volleyball program here has kind of given me expectations that I don't think are all that unrealistic, and I just want to see better for that volleyball program
Well,
and St. Louis volleyball fans in general, because I mean St. Louis is a big time girls sports town, and I say girls because I'm talking about club. I mean, you look at the club field hockey scene here in St. Louis; it's big time for a Midwest city. Volleyball is big time here for St. Louis. It's you got HP and other clubs here, so I think we can do a little bit better with our women's sports, given what we've done with women's soccer.
well, I like the positive outlook. I like the positive attitude. Um, yeah, I got nothing to add on that. You covered that as best I can, and I'm not even going to insult it by trying to attack it. So we'll just move on. There you have your update on women's volleyball. Women's basketball coming back from their restart. When we first tried to record this podcast, we were talking about it. You had said maybe 2 weeks was the shutdown. It seems like it was a little bit longer than 2 weeks, if I
Yeah.
recall.
It was
About a month.
21 days.
21 days. Okay.
3 weeks.
So 21 days.
As of
Since-
2 p.m., it'll be exactly 21. Or I guess as of like 5 p.m., it'll be exactly 3 weeks.
There you go. What are we looking forward to with the return of women's basketball right now?
Well, we are looking at 2 games. Duquesne on January 1st and St. Bonaventure on January 3rd. And a curious wrinkle in the Atlantic 10 women's basketball schedule is that Duquesne and St. Bonaventure played each other December 11th, actually, to start off conference play in this weird season that we're having. Yes, they've already played. So Duquesne came away with a win in that game. It was a 71-63 win in Pittsburgh. And we did talk about how Duquesne may not have their arena ready yet. So
yeah, that did come up in conversation the last time we tried to record this.
Yeah, so the women played at La Roche University, and then the men will play all their home games at least their home games up until January 30th at La Roche. So potentially, I think Duquesne's looking at finishing that arena by February. So
there you go. All right. Anything else we need to talk about before we move on?
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to this women's team coming back. You don't realize how much you actually care about the a sport like women's basketball, and I love women's sports more than most. So I kind of forgot how much I enjoyed kind of watching them randomly on Sundays, and just a lazy Sunday sitting around and watching Billiken women.
Well, Billiken women's basketball coming back from the shutdown. On to a little men's basketball before we get to our interview with Three Man Weave. Let's start with Minnesota.
Oh,
men's basketball team took on Minnesota. Excuse me. First road game at all this year.
Yeah.
And it was. I am going to go with one word: inspiring.
It was inspiring?
Yes, for me.
Well, I'll just I got 2 words: fine wine.
Okay.
That's the way this loss is aging.
Yeah, that is true. I felt like this was a high level of competition that we have not yet seen. I felt like this was the most complete team that we had run up against all year, and I felt like we saw really an uncharacteristically bad game from Javante Perkins. And you take him completely out of the game, it's a sign we weren't ready on offense. But
yeah, this is the kind of game where we're going to need Demarius Jacobs to kind of come out of his slumber.
Really anyone besides just Jordan Goodwin.
Yeah. Fred Thatch was outstanding, though. You saw what Fred Thatch could be. I think he's still trying to find his sea legs and find his consistency. But you saw, I mean, it's possible that it's hard to say because it's obvious that teams are completely keying on Perkins and Gibson.
Yeah.
They're just making sure that those two are not going to beat us, give up the 2 points inside to guys like Goodwin and Hassan. So we shot terribly from 3.
Yeah, not great.
I mean, 13.3%. That's not going to beat anybody.
No, it's not. But let's look at the positives here for a second, shall we?
Sure.
How nice does it feel to have the problem that you have shooters being run off the line versus being like, well, I don't know who we can get to even hit a three.
It feels great.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
I mean, it really, but it really is. It's funny that we're in this position. I'm trying to look at the positives on it,
No,
but
yeah,
there are
were
plenty of them
positives.
too.
Look, I mean, it's first time the Billikens are traveling under the circumstances of this season. They go to a Big Ten arena. Sure, there's no crowd, but you're going and playing against Big Ten sized players like both Gotch, Brandon Johnson, Cole Shower, Liam Robbins is a big guy. So I mean, it's a tough game, and unfortunately, when you don't shoot, you're not going to win.
Yeah, no, I think that is an easy way to sum it up. I thought there was a lot of fight. I thought that we gave ourselves a chance as long as we possibly could, and I thought that again, hung with a very good, as it appears, since the loss, Minnesota team, that the loss is going to look better and better. Like you said, age is like a fine wine.
It's interesting to see that Jimmy Bell got 1 minute in this game.
Yeah, Jimmy Bell has not been seeing a lot of playing time lately, I feel like.
Yeah, I wonder kind of what Travis is seeing, because, I mean,
maybe he just likes the quicker, smaller lineups right now.
Yeah, that's true. But, you might have, I mean, the way we started that game, Hassan was getting anything and everything he wanted inside.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, what did he score? 4 straight baskets?
A little bit, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely certain. But that was also the case too, and I'm not trying to jump ahead too far here, but that was also the case too, I feel like, against UMKC.
Yeah.
Where Hassan could just manhandle. I don't even remember who he was being guarded by, but he could manhandle whoever it was in the post every day.
And that's going to be so important for this team going forward. And guys like Jimerson, Perkins, Demarius Jacobs, for them to be able to, if Hassan is going to have to dominate inside, because what's happening is all these teams are now doing the exact opposite of what we saw last year. They are stopping the three and making Hassan and Goodwin beat us inside. And if Hassan can really turn his game up, that's going to mean more space for Perkins at all. So,
yeah. I mean, I'm not at a panic point by any means. I think that this was a very
disappointed. Sure.
Maybe.
I mean, it's disappointing to lose a game, especially, especially if you're following like the basketball imperialism map or the undefeated map on Reddit, all that good stuff. It's disappointing to see our logo disappear.
Yeah. It's also disappointing because that the Billikens are going to fall farther down the ranking boards, and it's going to be a much harder climb to get back up. But let's be honest, this team they've got the nation's attention a little bit here. They've got some national spotlight, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I think that we can at least rest comfortably that it'll be here the rest of the year.
God bless guys like Evan Miyakawa.
There you go. Exactly. So I don't know. I don't have much else to say about Minnesota. Like, I thought it was a competitive performance against a competitive team.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, Minnesota defended the three well, and they
defended Javonte Perkins well.
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as it is.
And they made shots, thought our defense was okay. I want to see better, I think we sell out a little too much against a team like that. A team that can knock down shots much better than the competition we've played against. So,
yeah. Well, anything else before I close out?
No, I think we covered. I mean, it's hard to really get into it and really just kind of,
Well, there's just, I don't think it's something that you need to really unpack other than to say we got beat.
Yeah. No, they beat us. I thought the officiating was a little suspect at times, but again, great teams overcome bad officiating, and I felt like it was just such a soft ass game for Big Ten arena. You know what I mean?
I
Like I
think
thought
it.
there were so many damn fouls called.
I
When
felt that there were a lot of fouls called, but I also think that that just kind of is the ebbs and flows. And then naturally, honestly, this year I was kind of expecting officiating to be at an all time low. Just
sure,
kind of.
yeah,
So I don't know. I mean,
it's one of those things. You know, they had how many free throws? 41 free throws to our 17. Now, do we capitalize on those? I don't know. They certainly did. Um, you know, making 34 of 41 and 83% clip. So
yeah.
yeah, they took advantage of the of you know the advantage, I guess, on the yeah, I just I'm frustrated because I think we had a shot and we didn't come through.
Happens. It happens. Um, well, let's move on to some more positive things. Excuse me. Uh, St. Louis then went on to take on UMKC on what was it, 23rd, Tuesday,
Uh, yes, Wednesday. Yeah.
Wednesday. Doesn't really matter that much. SLU beat UMKC 62-46. Um,
Yeah.
biggest
They
takeaway from
really
this
just
game.
wore. I mean, you just wear down an average team. This is what good and great teams do on a bad night.
Yeah,
Maybe a little bit of a hangover from the Minnesota game. Uh, maybe a little jet lag having your first trip recently, but I just want to see. I mean, Javante Perkins has an excellent second half, slow first half. Everyone really played bad in that first half. I thought um, McKissick came out for KC and really tried to show out in his hometown, and he did that in the first half. But really, what changed this game was the Billikens not allowing them to get into sets. You know, Travis Ford mentioned that KC was going to run it more sets than any other team we'd see this year, and really that pressure defense he employed in the second half didn't allow them to get in a flow. Every play had to be improvisational, and that's just not what they're good at.
yeah. I thought this game exposed something to me that I think is a little concerning. I feel like Javante Perkins is going to be a very streaky scorer. I feel like we're going to have to deal with some extreme lows and we're going to get to celebrate some extreme highs.
Yeah, and I think it all comes with the game plan. You're going to see, I think we're going to win a lot in this conference,
Yeah.
but what's going to happen is you have to remember how many different players we have on this team that can score.
Yeah.
We don't have to rely on Javante Perkins, and it becomes
Well, but I mean, I think unfortunately it felt like Minnesota exposed that we were relying on Javante Perkins.
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I think thing about Minnesota is that they had more guys that could guard everyone.
Yeah,
So
that's also true.
but like you're gonna see Javante Perkins not score a couple games because you're gonna have teams that are gonna run like a box and one, some junk defense and just completely focus on shutting him down and make everybody else beat you. Or they're gonna key on Javante and they're going to key on the shooters more, and you're going to see games where it's the Hassan and Goodwin show again instead of the Perkins and Gibson and Demarius show. So,
well, like you said, second half was promising for Javante, and overall, I think it was a ultimately promising game for the Billikens again. I mean, it's
you look at the minutes numbers, and you can just see how much of a
difference there is between this and Minnesota.
Well, no, like just look at I think they played 7 guys at 30 minutes. Everyone, nobody had less than 20 minutes except for Caden Bozer, who came in really late and gave 3 minutes. So they only ran 7 deep. So, with the Billikens running, as many as they can out there, you're going to wear a team down. And Hargrove really played that role. You saw in his quote about being the energy guy. When you can bring a guy like Terrence Hargrove off the bench and a team like KC is just dead tired, I mean, Terrence is going to have free reign to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, I don't know. I don't have much else on this UMKC game either. I felt like it was. I mean, overall, I want to say it's a disappointing stretch of 2 games, but again, we talked
About
about
a game and a
Minnesota.
half. A game and a half.
Yeah, we
I'll
talked
throw
about
that out.
Minnesota. You know what it is. And UMKC. I mean, we went and did what we had to do, and I think that's those 2 games, because now we're staring down the gauntlet. And we're going to see what this whole season brings. We're going to see what conference basketball looks like in a pandemic, and I think based on what you're talking about, it sounds like that could already become really interesting for the Billikens.
Yeah. I mean, I tweeted out looking forward to Duquesne. Keith Dambrot, being the idiot that he is, sent his players home. Now I understand the sentiment of doing that, and I think it's a very admirable pursuit. But when your season relies on your team staying healthy, I don't think it is a great idea to send them home. Give them a Christmas here, or give them a Christmas in the bubble. Do what you can to entertain and make everything special for them, but sending them home puts the game on December 30th in jeopardy for sure.
So there's the Duquesne game on December 30th. Zach is
And,
already.
and even if you do have the game, who are you going to have? Because when you get players back, they test positive. Sure, they haven't been together. So, I mean,
So you're already just sold that this isn't happening Wednesday?
I don't know. We'll find out when they get back on campus.
Okay.
And I'm guessing they will return today or tomorrow,
Well,
or probably yesterday.
should find out very quickly then if this is if this is a real problem. Also have UMass on Saturday, which will be before we record again. This is going to be a matchup that is going to give, I think, Billikens fans a really exciting game for one.
And I hate both these matchups. I hate watching Duquesne play the Billikens because they're just a terrible team that inexplicably wins games.
Beats us every year.
Yes, by like ridiculous shooting.
Beats us every year.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, you have the douchiest guards in the league in Tavian Dunn Martin and Sincere Carey, and they come out and they just put up just stupid shots, and they somehow find the bottom of the net. It's
What are you
a
gonna do?
miserable. Yeah, it's a miserable matchup. I hate it, and it scares me. It does.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that, and I think UMass scares me just as much. I think
Sure,
UMass is
'cause
a
you have-
very talented young team.
Yeah, you have Trey Mitchell. I mean, they're not, they're not very good per se as a team. They're 2-2. They lost to Northeastern on the back half of a back-to-back, which is a weird situation, but still you can't lose to a team like Northeastern. And then a loss to Bryant by 5 on December 21st. We'll get to see how they do against George Mason on the 30th. So that'll be interesting. Keep an eye out for that. But they got Trey Mitchell, obviously, and Trey Mitchell scores when he wants.
Yeah, I mean that's the scouting report right there, done in a bag.
You stop Trey Mitchell and you let Trey Mitchell get whatever he wants and stop the rest of them. So
There you go. Anything else we need to recap on men's basketball before we close this up?
do we have the our Manscaped werewolf?
That's what I was getting ready to go for.
Oh, sorry. I get ahead of
you're good.
myself. I'm
You're
always
good.
excited for it because
no, you're good. I just didn't know if there was anything else we want to talk about before we move on to that.
Well, did we talk about that deodorant that we got from them?
I believe maybe we did. I don't know.
Yeah,
It feels
it
like
is the
everything runs
greatest
together.
scent. The greatest scent of all time, by
Big
the way.
fan
So
of it. Yes.
yeah, definitely go. It's the ball deodorant, if you will. So
There you go. Yeah, and there will be some more stuff coming out, hopefully in the next week or two, on the Manscaped stuff as well, because it does start January 1st.
yes,
January
Well,
1st.
It starts as soon as you want to go to manscaped.com and use promo code HOUSE to get 20% off plus free shipping.
Even better, Zach. There you go.
I'm sure you guys got some Visa gift cards out there from
Use
your
'em.
auntie and your uncle, and so go check out manscaped.com, promo code HOUSE, 20% off plus free shipping. Get that ball deodorant. Get your twig and berries smelling real nice.
There you go. All right, Zach, Manscaped werewolf of the week. Who you got?
Oh man, gosh, I text you every week and remind you that we can agree on who the werewolf of the week is, and I always like to kind of go off a little bit because I think the werewolf of the week is the guy who put forth the best effort. And he had such a tough game against UMKC that I can give it to him, but I really want to go with Fred Thatch. So I'm going to go with Jordan Goodwin, 23 points and 13 rebounds against UMKC. And he went for 21 points and 10 rebounds against Minnesota team that, of course, went on to knock off number 4 Iowa.
Yeah, also had 7 assists in that game, which is why Jordan is also my werewolf of the week. So we do agree this week.
Triple-double watch is coming.
Yeah, no, it's definitely coming. It's
if he gets a triple-double, does he get werewolf of the year?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's just kind of naturally how that has to go. Well, anything else we need to cover before we kick it off to the three-man weave?
No, I don't think so. I just want to remind you guys that I didn't know this guy was a Mizzou fan when we brought him on. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had him on.
Well, there you go.
No, he's a really nice guy. It was good to talk to him and actually have a decent conversation with a Mizzou fan for once.
Well, you guys can look forward to that interview coming up right now on the House of Rickville podcast.
All right, and now we welcome on member 2 of the 3 members of the three-man weave, Jim and Matt. Unfortunately, Jim has a very odd flag behind him. I don't really know what that is. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're good. It is. I will reveal. It is a Mizzou flag. I'm a Mizzou alum. Unfortunate to be on a Bills podcast, but my brother attended SLU. I want them to do well. I have no ill will towards them. I attended a Bills game before I attended a Mizzou Tiger game, so that is something that is at least a true fact. I was watching Ian Billikens and Dwayne Polk ball out when I was sitting at when I was back at the Scottrade, I guess it was back then. But
do you remember that Missouri State game with the clock issue? There was a game. Ian Billikens tipped in a winner, and apparently there was a weird thing with the clock. One clock showed that it did go in before the buzzer, and then another one was like after the buzzer. It was a whole big thing.
That's weird. Maybe we sync up our clocks. That seems like a good idea.
That sounds like a Scottrade issue. We'll blame the Blues on that one. Matt, how we doing?
We're good, yeah. The reason why my camera's not showing is because I'm largely ashamed by my fandom allegiances, I should say plural. I went to Indiana, so obviously the alma mater of the Hoosiers get plenty of support, but I was brainwashed at a young age, a fetus, I would say, to be a Duke fan. So I have somehow been able to – Yeah. So it's kind of the worst thing about me, to be honest, among other poor qualities.
I have a large stable of friends like that are Duke fans for whatever reason. I cannot tell you why. They grew up in the sticks here in Missouri and just happen to be Duke fans. I guess that's the only game you can get in BFE Southeast Missouri is ESPN. So you just kind of end up being a Duke fan.
Yeah, we'll blame it on that.
So tell us about the Three-Man Weave podcast. I mean, I know a lot of our listeners are basketball junkies. That's why they're listening to some message board morons talk about college basketball.
So we started out about 5-6 years ago now, probably. Just 3 guys who always talked about college basketball and got to the point where it annoyed our friends. So we figured, let's take this into a healthier private outlet. And we just had like a group chat and eventually evolved into writing about it on a site. Then I moved to Chicago where they both lived, Matt and Kai. And we're like, all right, we're all within a mile of each other. Let's do a podcast too. Those are all the rage, as you guys certainly know. It covers, we try to do national. We talk about all 357 teams. It's very difficult in a sport like college basketball. People definitely want to care about like their own team, the diehards of each individual school want to hear about them. But it's we love them all equally. We have 357 children. We try to cover them each. Matt, any other input that I'm missing here?
I'll disagree with you, Jim. I think we have our preferences and our favorites amongst teams and conferences. And we told I went on Sully, who does a Dayton podcast. Yep. I don't know if you guys are familiar. I'm not sure if you guys are arch enemies. I don't know if you guys are friends or enemies or frenemies.
Best of frenemies, yes.
Yeah.
Sully and I, there's a picture out there of me and Sully at the at the infamous game last year when Jalen Crutcher hit the
Oh
three.
yeah, hit that shot. Yep. Tough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jalen
I
Crutcher
refuse
buried
to.
it.
I refuse to acknowledge this Clutcher nickname because he just went 2 for 4 from the free throw line in the last 2 minutes of the game, of their last game. So I just don't think he's got it without Obi. You know.
Yeah,
There it
he's
is.
not been as great this year. But I was gonna say we love the A10. From guys who are always digging and scouring on fan boards, there's no more passionate conference, top to bottom. So yeah, you guys are the best. We love A10, and like whenever we always assign a person to do each conference preview. Whoever is doing the A10 is always terrified because every fan base knows their team. If you mess up the 8th, 9th man order in the rotation, you're going to hear about it. So it's fun, but also scary, I guess.
I love the A10 and that like it's such a scrappy conference and anything can happen on any day. But one of the underrated things I think about the conference is the actual TV deal. I think NBC Sports puts out the best looking product as far as national broadcast goes. I mean, ESPN tends to get the better analysts, CBS gets, but I think NBC, just as far as picture, score bug, all that kind of stuff is top notch.
Okay, my question there then: how did NBC let Round Ball Rock go to Fox? That's so money.
Absolute travesty.
Yeah, that's a disgrace to composers everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just embarrassment. I don't know, but I do love the NBC Sports brand, and all my fellow hockey fans will shame me for that take too because they can't stand NBC's hockey coverage. But yeah, I mean, so you said you guys love the A10. I mean, what about the A10 draws you guys in, and then what do you think about the conference this year?
I think what Matt said, the fan loyalty and the ferocity of the passion from the fan base is like, we'll write up something about the Pac-12 and we'll trash UCLA and we won't hear a peep. No one will care. It's not like, people don't fire back at us. But when I ranked, or Matt, I think Matt wrote the A10 this year, he ranked UMass 9th. And man, people had their pitchforks. They were beating down his door, ready to skewer him. And like that, it makes it more fun when you get engagement and people are, even if they're mean, it's, that's fine. You get used to it after a while. And this year, we just recorded a podcast, and I think Kai was saying, he's like, man, I could see it being 4 bid league. I know there's a 3 bid league pod out there for the A10, but they've got a chance to get 4, don't they, Matthew?
Yeah, we did a little section where I basically tossed out 2 schools to Kai and Jim and said, hey, just pick who you think's the better team. And I opened with Mizzou SLU, and I think they both begrudgingly said SLU, which is the correct answer this year. And then I tossed out Richmond versus VCU.
Now you're just
Richmond
sucking up, Matt.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I had I had to butter you guys up to get this one started here. But I mean, the top, I don't know, 6, 7 is awesome, and I think we're almost pandering to our anti-UMass shtick at this point. But I would put them safely below the likes of Richmond, St. Bonaventure, SLU. Even though Dayton struggled, I think Dayton's still a little bit above them. And then Duquesne, the Dukes are legit, yeah.
We don't like the Dukes for what there's something about Duquesne. It's like Dambrot, and then like they have 2 just little douchey guards, and it's just something about them just really grinds my gears. They're one of those teams that will like lose inexplicably to like Furman or like Towson or whatever, and just completely throw off the conference RPI because when they get into conference, they'll come into Chaffetz and again, for whatever reason, bring their A game and just beat us. And it's just a miserable – they lead a miserable existence of just bringing down the conference constantly.
Don't sugarcoat it.
At least Fordham just sucks 100% of the time. And we know what we're going to get. But Duquesne is just a wild card. It's like the crazy cousin at Christmas dinner.
At least Fordham's being respectful enough to just apparently take the season off right now. Like they're not even playing.
They're like the uncle that went into rehab. They know their problems. They get it. They stay within themselves.
I kind of agree with Sully's like, well, man, I know you haven't previewed the A10 in 2 or 3 years because me, Jim, and Kai cycle through our preview conference alignments. But He's like, the first rule is always when you're ranking the A10, before you write one word, you just put Fordham last, and then you start from there and you build from the ground up. So I like that they make it easier on us from that perspective, because ranking the other 13 teams can be a chore, but you always know you got one right. You always got one right.
Well, no, even when you rank Fordham last, you still get the A10 meme of Fordham's too high.
Yes, I love that. That's so great. A good rankings, but God, I can't believe you had Fordham so high.
That's the problem, I think, with the A10. If there is one major problem, it is the bottom feeders of the league, the George Washingtons, the Fordhams, the teams that may have a lot of feel good history behind them, or may have had a run in the past, but just aren't in the mood to, not in the mood, but like not in a position to really put a lot into their basketball program.
How do you guys feel about the hot fling you had with Butler? I would have loved to have them stick around.
Oh man, dude. Actually, it was a great rivalry. One year we went to Butler and won. We went on a bus. I was a student, and we stopped at Walmart. Somebody decided they wanted to get poster board. I don't know, but I went ahead and got a 30-pack of beer, threw it in my backpack, put it on the student bus. I think the statute of limitations is out now. I think I'm good. And then when we won, we were in the upper bowl or whatever, the upper level, and some Butler students came by. My buddy's like on the railing, and this student literally looks up at my buddy, hawks a loogie right in my buddy's face.
Oh boy,
That's
how you breed rivalries.
It was I liked Butler in the A10. I thought that's where they kind of belonged. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just really upsetting now thinking about how good the conference was for that like 3 years when you had SLU, Butler. I think Xavier had a little overlap, and then Dayton was good. Did I say VCU already? But
that was a great league.
Yeah, it was so much fun. With Rick Majera, Shaka Smart, Brad Stevens, the coaches were just unbelievable. I think the lower half of the league just brings it down so much that keeps it from being that 3 to 4 bid league. If you could bring in like a team like a Belmont to replace a Fordham, or a Loyola Chicago to replace a GW, push it a little bit to the west. I mean, obviously as a St. Louis fan, like I would love to have a couple of road trips I could take every once in a while. But yeah, back to the point at hand, what do you see out of St. Louis this year? Who are the guys on the roster you like, and why?
Matt, I'll let you lead as the A10 writer this year.
I don't even know where to begin. I mean, the starting five, the top six really are just so rock solid. We were talking on our podcast, like who is SLU's best player? And it's the fact that you have to debate this. You could have a legitimate argument with a case to be made for 3 different guys. I think just kind of sums it up in a nutshell,
Let me rephrase that question. Who's the most talented player on the roster, basketball wise?
I think Perkins is the right answer. I would argue Perkins is your most valuable player because you've always had the grit and grind thing with Goodwin and French. You don't agree? No.
Well, no, not. It's not that I don't. I think Perkins is super valuable, but I think Goodwin brings value in a way that's not necessarily the most talent. You get what I'm saying?
That's fair. That's fair.
And he and French build the identity of really what the Bills are. And I think Matt's point is that when you add someone like Perkins and Jimerson shooting to that identity, suddenly you get this team this year that's so fun to watch and potentially has some real postseason potential.
Yeah, I mean, definitely St. Louis is excited. St. Louis fans in general are excited. What do you guys think of Yuri Collins, man? Let me ask you a question. Yuri Collins or Xavier Pinson, who are you taking to start a team?
Gosh, it depends on what you need. If Mizzou needs Pinson because they need his erratic confidence, sure, I can make this 26-foot pull up because they don't really have the offensive players to do that. Collins fits better with SLU as a little more of like a game manager. I mean, early on, he was tremendous taking care of the ball. You play teams like NC State, and that gets a little sloppier. We actually had a heated internal argument about Yuri Collins during the NC State game.
Let's hear it.
Kai and I were kind of going to bat for him. We like what he was doing up to that point, and then he kind of like became more alpha mode during that game. Started to drive a lot more, looking for his own shot, and it seemed like that led to some sloppiness, some turnovers. Matt, you were staunchly anti Yuri, so I'm going to let you go here.
Yeah, I mean, I love Yuri. I think he's fantastic. The question is, who do you play him with on the floor, and how do you optimize his minutes? And I don't love when he is on the floor with Goodwin and I guess if put differently, if Perkins and Jimerson are not on the floor, I don't like playing three non-shooters. And I think just the element that Perkins and Jimerson give with floor spacing, that's why those two are the most, I think, in my opinion, most valuable players in the team, because they lift you to a level you've not been to before, as opposed to just playing, a rock fight, ground and pound, crash the glass, make it a boxing match. I think those two dudes bring an element that you just haven't had. I mean, again, love Collins. I just think you have to play him selectively with the right guys. Otherwise, I think you expose your floor spacing if you overuse him with like French and Goodwin far too often.
Yeah, I think in that game, you talk about the alpha mode, which was absolutely incredible to watch him kind of take over. It was very reminiscent of Kwame Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. I played against Kwame Mitchell in 6th grade, so I go way back with that guy.
What? Tell this story. Hold on. We got to hear this one.
Okay. I can't even remember exactly the name of the school he played for. I played for a little Catholic grade school outside Milwaukee, and he was playing for a Whitefish Bay school before he went to Dominican, and he just lit us up. It was like, okay, that guy is a pro. I mean, that was like my first reaction to it. He so quick, such tight handles for a 6th grader. I mean, they had 2 shooters on the team that he would just drive in and kick to. And it's like, all right, they have 6th grade 3-point shooters. This isn't fair. We're absolutely out of our element here. And then like he kept getting better. My brother went to SLU. SLU gets Majerus. Majerus recruits Kwame Mitchell. I'm like, oh man, I just have this life cycle with this guy. And so it was like very fun to kind of be not a part of his career, but like, I remember playing against that guy and getting torched by him way back when I was 11 years old or whatever it was.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
That's a great story. I loved it was such what the game was calling for in that moment, that Yuri Collins and a lot of Billiken fans, I don't think realize that he had that in him. And I think if he can bring that and at least show that he can do that, I mean, it opens up everything. It opens up almost every other. I mean, I don't even know where you begin to game plan at that point on where to allocate your defensive resources.
Yeah, because you've got to focus so much on Perkins, and Goodwin's game is getting better, evolving. Like he's hit some mid-range jumpers this year that have really impressed me. He's kind of making free throws too, which is huge for him.
Let's not jinx it now.
Yeah, sorry. So I like the little like step in motion he's got.
Yeah.
It seems like it gets him in rhythm. And yeah, if Collins is slashing, you have French and Goodwin all over the offensive glass. You have shooter space in the floor now. We've always joked that like, because we do bet on basketball a decent amount, like, oh, if SLU's a favorite, you can't bet on them because they don't have the offensive weaponry to cover minus 15 or whatever it is. But this year they're terrifying because it's like, oh yeah, they can put up a 20-0 run on you, and you're just out of luck at that point.
Well, speaking,
I haven't checked the. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask you, like, what you guys thought of what the ceiling with this team is with this new offense. They can cover now. They can put a bunch of points on. We can sometimes get a little in our own SLU bubble in this community where it's hard to see exactly what else is out there, whereas you guys cover more national stuff. Where do you see the ceiling for this team, and where do you see the floor?
The first step's admitting the bubble. We acknowledging that's huge.
I am very new to the bubble. Like I am very new. Like, this is my 3rd year covering the team. And like before that, I knew like very little. So I am very new to the bubble. So I'm very.
And I also drink the blue Kool-Aid and smoke the blue weed.
Matt, go for it. Sing their praises here.
Oh man, I guess And we had this conversation, I think, internally, me, Jim, and Kai here. I think they are a legitimate top 25, top 20 team. I'm not ready to anoint them a top 10 on the short list of Final Four contenders. But just talking about free throws, you can't emphasize that enough. I mean, going from, I believe, 2 straight years of sub 60% on a team that shoots so many, right? I mean, everyone on that team loves to splash and barrel to the rim. So you're going to get 15, 20 attempts a game. Making an extra 5 a game this year because you have, not obviously better shooters, but the guys who weren't making them before are now making them. That's huge. And it's absolutely normal. It's kind of a nitpick of a thing, but when you extrapolate that over so many attempts and so many games, that those points that up. I don't know, Jim, what do you think? Am I short selling SLU in the 10 to 25 range nationally in our pecking order?
No, that feels right to me. Here's what I'll say. Like, there's a scenario where things break right and they make the Final Four. Like when 7 seed South Carolina made the Final Four because their defense really picked up late and they got a couple good matchups with teams that couldn't shoot. Like SLU has that in their range of outcomes. Like, it's not, completely like wishful thinking to say we could make a run. So, I one of my brother's friends is like the biggest SLU diehard I know, and he's all, like every year somehow they're a Final Four team. But
I
this
probably
year,
know him.
Yeah, I would imagine most likely. But this year it's possible. Like if you get hot at the right time, I think they could go into the tournament at like a 5-6 seed, very realistically. Especially if that NC State win continues to age as it is, that they got their big win over the
fine
heels.
Wine.
Yes, exactly.
And LSU too. I mean, that's going to look a lot better come March than it. And I mean, the loss to Minnesota is probably going to look better in March than it does feel right now. I think. But like,
it's a tough spot too.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that you think they're top, 10 to 25. I'm so pessimistic on rankings, especially come like seeding, because the A10 just seems to be like, why is Richmond and SLU not ranked? It makes you kind of go like, well, okay, so they might be honestly that good, but the national narrative doesn't ever allow – the guys voting out in Idaho don't care. They don't know.
You can't lose a game either. Like you get ranked as a like an A10 or an AAC or something like that, and you lose a game and they're like, nope, you're yesterday's news, buddy. See you later.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfair, tough standard. Whereas Duke can lose at home twice and get shellacked, and it's like, oh, it's fine. They're still Duke. They can be top 20. Yeah, that's right, Matt. I'm throwing shade at your blue.
I still don't know. Wait, how did they not have to like? They canceled the game. How did they not forfeit those games? Like that's what I like. If you just decide you're gonna can't like, it's the K factor, right?
Yeah, you're never gonna stand up to him like that.
Matt, defend your team.
Yeah, please do.
How are they not taking L's on all these cancellations?
Is he there?
He's had enough. He's had enough of this.
He told me
he's had enough
an
of the Duke
orthodontist
slander.
appointment or something.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
my
know.
goodness. No, he's had enough of the Duke slander. No, he mentioned what did he say that really the free throw issue, and I think people underestimated the number of games that the Billikens lost at the free throw line. I mean, you can point specifically to the Duquesne game last year, Carter?
Duquesne, Arch Barron 1, probably
Davidson.
Arch Barron 2, Davidson, yeah.
Yeah,
they lost
that's
4 games. I mean, and you might actually, like, let's say they shot average, they might end up winning 2 of those 4. But the difference last year between an extra 2 wins is probably the difference between being a guaranteed at large and a outside looking in bubble team. Now, tournament never happened, so we'll never know. But
never got that third shot at Dayton. Wanted to see it.
We would have. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm in the camp that Obi Toppin was overrated. Still is. I just think he didn't impress against SLU. If you can't impress against SLU,
Obadiah Toppin is going to help lead the Knicks. I'm very confident in that.
Jesus.
They need it. They need it.
Who do you think on this Billiken roster has the best shot at the NBA?
That's a great question. Shooting has become such a premium skill that I think it's probably Perkins. That would be my lean.
I thought Carter was.
I was so convinced you were going Jimerson.
Yeah, I've
been on that train
you
for
were.
a while.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout because it's very Tyler Harrow.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah, it seems
In
to me
vogue.
like he's been pulled for defensive lapses too many times to have that, because a guy that can shoot that well should be on the court as much as possible. But I see myself watching soon, like, where's Jimerson? Oh, he must have blown another defensive assignment or something. But it is like, if you are that automatic from deep, and I've seen him put the ball on the floor a couple times this year that was at least mildly respectable.
No, he's fantastic getting to the rim.
Yeah, if he figures out the defensive end, then yeah, I'll buy that.
If you watched the NC State game, correct?
Yep.
Did you catch it? So if you notice that the run to when they finally eclipsed NC State, Gibson hit a 3 and then was pulled from the game, and Demarius came in. And when Demarius came in the game, the defense was locked down.
Yes.
So like Demarius can shoot threes really well, a little bit less than Jimerson, but he's provides
way more selective.
Yes, he is.
He's 6 for 9 from deep this year. So like when he takes them, he hits them. But he just does so many other things. He's so athletic that he doesn't even need to take threes. He can just blow by you.
And compared to Jimerson, Demarius Jacobs is Luke Meyer in his release. So I'm glad I could throw that reference at you.
No, I like it. It's a Borgia grad.
Yes. Are you from St. Louis?
No, I lived there for 3 years though. I had a best friend he went to Borgia and played against Luke Meyer up at the Mizzou Rec Center a couple times. He came in. I was always like, why don't you shoot more in SLU games? You don't miss.
Because I can't get the shot off. But
yeah, that'll do it.
No. Hey, well, we appreciate you taking time out of the busy schedule covering 368 teams.
We try.
And nothing but the worst of luck to Mizzou going forward.
Hopefully we'll get a Mizzou SLU on the schedule.
We should.
I'd love it.
Like literally this season, they should have just been like, all right, let's meet. I think someone said meet in Warrenton.
Yeah, play at
a high school. We play at a high school. Yeah. Wait, doesn't Mills have a basketball court now? Can we play at I think Bradley Beal Elite just took over like this old shopping mall.
Did they really?
Yeah, they're building a whole super center of basketball courts there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
I think there's gonna be like soccer fields and hockey rink and all this good jazz. But yeah, I think this year would have been a good year just to do it at like a big high school gym.
Yeah, and I mean, if you can't really do fans, it makes so much sense to play geographically nearby teams right now. It's frustrating that they couldn't make it happen, especially that they're both good.
Yeah, I know that neutral court like situation, you definitely want to be able to sell tickets, but I mean, if that's the sticking point is the third game, like just put it in front of nobody, like, do it this year and then do home and home the next 2 years.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
Well, Jim, it was a pleasure having you on, and like I said, thanks for coming on. And
appreciate you having us.
Yeah, good luck.
Ducked out early, but
yeah, I'll be happy to come on to talk SLU basketball and stand for my boys anytime. So
yeah, as soon as when they're making that run in March, we'll get the expert on.
Absolutely. All right, then thanks to Matt too. He had to sign off. Where can people follow you guys?
On Twitter, we are at 3MW_CBB. So 3-Man Weave College Basketball. I swear it makes sense. And then the website is the word 3 spelled out 3-man-weave.com. We are terrible at marketing. We did not get a good domain name there, but we still try to put out quality content anyway. So that's the site. That's the Twitter. Those are the best spots.
All right, my man. Take it easy.
Yeah, you too.
The ones that hate me the most look just like me. You tell me what that means. Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like BMX sing.